Welcome back to Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff. Here we address conventional clutter such as papers, clothes, and other stuff, but we do it in an unconventional way, not only to be neat and tidy, but to open space to move and manage life goals without obstructions so we can achieve what we want and need and dream. Moreover, at Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff, we take on next level clutter. Next level clutter are areas of life that are confounding and confronting. So we sweep them under the carpet, put them off another day or forever. These areas of life include resetting health and fitness regimens, digital decluttering, preparing your side of your life story, healing, letting go, and creating relationships, deciding where to live and what to do next in retirement, and even pre-planning your final arrangements. Also, we want to get our financial and legal matters in order. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Our intention is to motivate you to take the initiative to leave a legacy, not a mess. So let's get busy making room for what matters. Today's topic is online estate planning. We're delighted to have with us today Renee Fry, the co-founder and CEO of Gentreo. Gentreo is an online software provider of estate planning tools. We will explore with Renee the many ways this online entity can not only make doing your estate planning accessible, but affordable. Also, we take a look at what other features are available through Gentreo to help us plan ahead and move forward responsibly. A graduate of Penn State and Harvard Business School, Renee has had an illustrious career in business and politics, and she brings all of that to help teach us today what she has learned and perfected. So welcome, Renee.
Thank you, Michelle. Nice to be here.
Good. Can you elaborate on what Gentreo is?
Yeah. So first, the name Gentreo. So we chose the name Gentreo to me because to us it means 3 generations. So many of us are caring for maybe aging parents, but we also have children as well as taking care of ourselves. And so we wanted to be able to help people plan for life. People ask us about it's estate planning, and it's like, well, okay, but it's life and estate planning because all of our lives change. We have all kinds of new things that happen to us, and that's why you have to care about going across generations and being there for everyone that you love throughout life.
Yeah, it's a lot. It's broad. Before we dive into all of that, you have a lot of talents and a big resume of different companies that you have worked for and things you have done across your career. How did you land on an estate planning online tool for people to do their estate planning? How did you land on that?
Well, a lot of people start companies because they see a problem and they decide, well, no one else has fixed this problem, so I should be the person to do that. And that's literally what happened. My sister and I went with our parents to do their estate planning, and they paid $10,000. And so when we walked out of the meeting, the two of us were talking, and we said, wow, it's amazing someone hasn't started something online to do this. And then 2 seconds later, we looked at each other and said, we should do that. And then it turned out that it really was the culmination of so many things we both had done across our careers. So I had done a number of startups. My sister had worked as head of marketing for the National Association of Home Care and Hospice. And so given our background, we thought, wow, okay, this is something we really could do. And then we met our CTO, who we've worked with for numerous years, but he had just paid $10,000 to close his grandmother's estate, which was only worth about $5,000. And then next, we met our estate planning attorney, and she said, I've always thought there should be an online solution for this. And so all of that kind of came together with perfect timing. And so that's how Gentreo was started.
Well, it's a practical solution to a problem. If you only have an estate of 5,000 and you're spending 10,000 to express your wishes, it doesn't make sense. So that begs the question, what's the difference in price and otherwise of going to Gentreo versus an in-person attorney?
So we at Gentreo, we only charge, it's $150 for the first year, and that's all of your documents. So whether you need a will, living trust, and pour-over will, your healthcare proxy, your power of attorney, all of that's included because we know that people don't necessarily know what they need, but once they get started, they learn along the way. And then what we do is we help them save all of those documents and other important information in their digital vault. And so that's why we have a 92% retention rate over 3 years, because people now use us as that home for not just all of their documents, but the help for when they're facing things like moving to a new state, caring for aging parents, or maybe getting married. And so where we're different is that you can update your documents anytime because life does change. And whereas a lot of lawyers, they do fantastic work, and we work with a number of lawyers, but you're probably going to be paying in the thousands of dollars for documents. And then when you need updates, you have to pay again as well. And
Mm.
so what we work with people to do is be able to become that one home for them as their life evolves. They keep coming back to Gentreo.
Yeah, you make a point that your will is a living document. It's something that can be changed and should be changed or re-examined over time while you're still alive. Is that right? And how often should you re-examine what you've already decided on and see if it's still relevant?
So common advice is maybe every 3 years, but we actually suggest people take a look at things yearly. And the reason you want to do that is that I don't know about you, but when we're fun at dinner parties when we go out and talk about estate planning, and people are like, "Oh, I did a will 20 years ago, and my kids were born," or, "Oh, yeah, they're actually now 22, 23, they're adults." And so we try to encourage people to understand that no, this is something there. Life is fluid. So if you have new assets, maybe a new home, maybe a new car, things like that, those type of things go into your estate plan, maybe new bank accounts, something like that. And so we encourage people, just like your taxes, you do that every year. At the same time, maybe take a look at your estate plan just to make sure you have to, if you do have to update it, you do that. And then also, one thing that's really important is a healthcare proxy. It's part of an estate plan, and a healthcare proxy, just so that it's accepted at the hospital or by the doctors, should be updated every 2 years. And so that's important because if you take in a healthcare proxy that's 10 years old, the hospital may not accept that for
Oh,
legal
really?
reasons because, yeah, and people don't realize that,
Oh,
you know, these organizations, if it's your bank and it's a power of attorney, they want to make sure that that's the most up-to-date document that you can have, because if you walk in with a 10-year-old power of attorney, there's probably a really good chance it's not going to be used because you're dealing with people's money and the bank or the credit union is in charge of protecting that, and so they want to make sure all of your documents are up to date. So it's really good incentive for making sure that you do check on things yearly.
I did not know that. So I've just learned something, and I hope everybody out there has too. Can you
No, I hope
explain
so
for
too,
those
because
that don't know what is? So you have your will, which and
yeah,
what is the contents of will include, and then what is a healthcare proxy, and then there's a financial proxy, or what do you call it? A financial
the
surrogate,
power of attorney. Yep.
a power of attorney. So could you explain those three entities, and are there other entities that go into the body of documents that you should have in preparation for anything that happens to you?
Yep. So first, there are documents that you use while you're alive, because people, when they hear estate planning, they think, oh, it's just when I pass away. Not true. Not true. Not true. So the healthcare proxy, that would be the document that probably your doctor, when you go in, says, okay, we need you to assign who your healthcare proxy is. And the healthcare proxy for Gentreo has a number of different things in it, like your living will, your HIPAA compliance. And so that's the document that you're allowing other people to see your medical records. You're allowing someone to make medical decisions for you if you are unable to do so. So if you go into surgery and you can't make those decisions for you and something happens, that's where you want that healthcare proxy. And also during COVID, that was a document that became really important
Hmm.
because so many people were having to go to court to say, okay, well, I want life sustaining measures. I want a ventilator for my mom or dad. And there was like a 5 or 6 day wait, which was too long, and people, it was just a mess. So having that one document while you're alive will allow people to make healthcare decisions for you the way you would want them made. And then the financial power of attorney, what's often called a power of attorney, that's to allow someone to make financial decisions for you. And so a lot of times, where we see it used as if an aging parent, like we used a financial power of attorney as our dad was developing Alzheimer's. Thankfully, while he was still of sound mind, he named us as powers of attorney so that we could help our mom with making sure that the house payments were getting made, making sure that all the assets that they had worked so hard to build were taken care of. This is a very powerful document. So the one thing we always tell people is that when you name someone as a financial power of attorney, you're giving them access to being able to use your assets. And so this is something where you want to make sure that those documents are always up to date, that you have a good standing relationship with the financial power of attorney. They know what they can do, what they can't do. And so those are two of the documents while you're alive. And then
Right.
moving over
When should you start to create these documents? I know I talk to a lot of baby boomers, people over the age of 55, and, they do all the right things. And then it comes to, well, what did you do with your, essential paperwork, like your will and your proxies and your power of attorneys? And they stop there. Like, what is the reason people don't, complete those documents? Is it too, what do you find? What stops people? And how can they get over that?
People always think they have till tomorrow, right? And people are like, oh, I don't want to think about death. And it's like, okay, death and taxes, they're going to happen. And so what we tell people is like, while you're healthy and hopefully happy, get your things done so that you can tuck them away and just check on them and make sure they're updated. Because too many people, I can tell you, Michelle, we get emails every single week from people who didn't prepare. And then there's a word called intestate. And if you die intestate, the state's laws decide how your family, relatives, who gets your money, who gets your house. And so instead of you making those decisions, the state just made those decisions for you. And so when we tell people that, there aren't too many people who want the government making their decisions for them, right? We're like, look,
Right.
you're doing great. Get this done.
You can be under 55 and start to create your will, right?
Well, and we tell people life inflection points are a great time. So, let's say if you just got married, now you probably want to name your spouse as, who might inherit things, make your healthcare decisions. If you just got divorced, those folks tend to be very inspired to make sure that person is not the person getting those things. It's those life inflection points that we really encourage people to tackle. But we tell people, we're like, look, everyone over 18 needs to do something like this, because even during COVID, college kids, but for those over 55 and the folks that you reach, really what we tell them is, okay, look, you've worked super hard for all the things across your life. Make your decisions so that someone else is not making those decisions for you, and get it done.
That's really the thing to stay focused is on. You work hard, you work your, tail off, creating a great life for yourself, and then not to manage that properly, so that it can be passed down to your loved ones, or that you can be taken care of when you're sick or unable. There's a lot to delve into when you're talking about, estates and wills and trusts and proxies, and it changes from state to state. And this website will address the estate changes. And I think everybody should go to Gentreo, have a look around, see what it has to offer you, and don't sweep it under the carpet like we talk about here. So the best thing you can do is get in action, go to your computer, Google it, and have a look. We don't have a lot of time left for today, Renee, but maybe we can have you back and we can talk further about all the other assets there are on Gentreo, so that you can have all of your paperwork, so to speak, or your non-paperwork in order, and who you should give access to, so that if anything happens to you, you're covered. So
I would love that. That would be fantastic.
Well, that's all we have time for today. So I want to suggest that this is just the beginning of a conversation that we hope will get your legal house in order. There's something to be said for dotting those I's and crossing those T's. And here's an incentive. If you go to Gentreo.com and use the code Decluttering55, you're in for a big discount on your first year with Gentreo. Next, go to www.55plus.com and sign up on the Let's Connect page so that we can send you notifications about news you can use. We also want to hear from you, what you'd like us to cover. We want to hear about your successes and challenges. Let's go grow younger together. Follow us on Facebook and Instagram, and subscribe to us on YouTube. Check out RHS TV. Please encourage your friends and family to do the same. Let's grow this community and invigorate our lives. Tune in each week wherever you get your podcasts. My new book, Decluttering 55 Plus, Wisdoms to Create a Legacy, Not a Mess, is now available finally on Amazon and at www.layitflat.com. Buy one for yourself and a handful of gifts for your friends, and by all means, buy a couple for your parents. It's a beautifully illustrated motivational book of prompts to learn new things and get things done. Well, that's all for now. This is Decluttering 55 Plus with Michelle Passoff signing off. Have a clutter-free day.